Today's tree is a weedy species here on the Sunshine Coast. It's called Camphor Laurel. It's probably the most common weedy tree that we get here, especially down on the farms here. So being a laurel, it's always got these little, it puts out these little buds for new growing tips, and it's just like the potential of heaps of new little leaves coming out. Just about to go into its spring flush, the camphor laurel, and it makes them super easy to see all over the coast. And the easiest way to identify it in the field is just to crush some leaves and smell them, and they'll have that strong camphor smell. The camphor oil is used as a pest deterrent in wardrobes, stuff like that, for moths and silverfish, and also it's used for like the cooling effect it has on your body. So like sort of like menthol or peppermint, it's got the same sort of effect. It makes really beautiful timber, the trees, with really lovely grain. And they are originally from sort of Southeast Asia, East Asia, Japan, China, Taiwan. They're in the laurel family, and they're in the genus Cinnamomum, which I'm pretty sure cinnamon's in the same genus, and this one's camphora. They're easy to distinguish. The branches are always quite green, and the young little saplings are always very green, the stems on them. And in Australia there's only a few other native species that get green stems on them when they're young, like brachychitons, which are easy to distinguish the leaves. They often find them growing where there used to be an old fence. So here's an old fence post that it's engulfed, and usually on these old farms you'll see them in rows. So because there wasn't much here, the birds would come and they'd land on the fence and poop out the seed, and you'd get the camphor laurels in nice neat rows on farms, and that's probably because the birds have been roosting on those fences. They're really important for our frugivorous birds on the coast. I think if we got rid of every camphor laurel, we'd probably lose a lot of birds, because they're ubiquitous everywhere, these bushes. And we've got a fair few different species that are also in the laurel family, but they're camphor laurel is definitely the most common laurel on the coast. And I think that's all. Oh, sometimes they have differing chemicals in them. So this one's like quite camphor smelling, but I was reading that some of them have different chemicals, and one of them's saffrole, and that's a precursor in the production of MDMA. So that's quite an interesting little factoid. They got like this scaly sort of rough bark, and this one's had cows rubbing on it. They're really beautiful shade trees, and you can see why people brought them over to Australia to produce shade. You get them a lot in parks and gardens and stuff like that. And yeah, they're a really nice timber tree as well. They get little black fruit on them, really inconspicuous flowers, but the easiest way to identify them is that smell. And that's the camphor laurel.